Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 as France, starting in 1920. This is episode 50! Episode 50! Who would have thought? What a pleasure. We're going to have a little think about the battle that we've just been fighting, and then move into summer of 1942 and see what that brings. So, first of all, I wanted to think about Cap, or more properly, I wanted to respond to Ravelli's excellent post back in episode 47, I think it was, where he pointed out that I was probably overdoing the maximum cap thing. And in fairness, I've been enjoying it, but he pointed out that there are several risks that I'm running. So first of all, if I don't have my strikes escorted, they won't have a lot of chance if they come up against a British cap. And if you have maximum cap, there are no escorts available. And in addition to that, if I have maximum cap, that's maximum cap over my force. So in this instance, either the carrier force or the battle force, since both of those had carriers. And that means that I can't provide cap for any other force. Now, it was fortunate that the battle force had its own light carriers to provide cap, because if they hadn't, my carrier force would have only have provided cap for itself and couldn't have shared that for the battle force. As it was, the scout force had no cap at all, but luckily that was only a couple of heavy cruisers and destroyers. So the short answer to Ravelli is yes, you're absolutely right. I'm overworking the maximum cap thing. Luckily, I got away with it this time. My main strike forces didn't seem to suffer any disproportionate losses due to their lack of escort. The main forces, the carrier force and the battle force, were heavily protected and downed an awful lot of British planes, and the cap improvement technologies came after the battle. Now they've come for me. They presumably haven't come for the British because they're not doing so well in the whole cap stakes, but they will come soon. They are of this era, so I should probably stop overusing the maximum cap feature. Second thing I wanted to have a little think about was actually more generally, how am I using my carrier superiority? Now, there was a distinctly tactical situation here. There was a northerly wind coming down, so my carriers had to go north in order to launch aeroplanes, which brought them closer to the British. So I need to watch that more carefully. I should have forced the carriers to steer a more consistent southerly direction and keep their distance, and then give them the sea room to head north to launch and recover planes. I was lucky. What can I say? I was lucky in both respects. Secondly, I'm not really using the range of the aircraft. So I was launching strikes where the British were only 30, 50 miles away. And I should be, again, creating more sea room, avoiding the risk of surface action against my carriers. They sneaked up and attacked the Dixmude, although in fairness it was probably sunk by a torpedo. And they also got close to my main carrier force. Luckily I was able to shield it, and they turned around and they took some heavy losses, but no sinkings from my strike aircraft. So I should use the range and not get so close as I did. And I should also put more effort into air reconnaissance. After the initial air reconnaissance, my reconnaissance activity was a bit haphazard. I need more clarity as to what is where. Now, the reconnaissance always gives you a slightly confusing picture, but you can pick out roughly, well, over there is this bunch, and over there is that bunch. And as I say, I did do a little bit of that, but I should do more of that in order to allow aircraft to attack at greater range, giving my carriers greater safety, because, yeah, I was chancing it a bit by pushing those carriers so far north, and it wasn't all their fault for launching aircraft. It was my fault too for just allowing them to go too far north. So that's my reflections on the battle. If you've got any ones, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Next, I wanted to answer the question, what on earth happened to the British? Because I've been blockading them, and that shouldn't happen because they've got a huge superiority. So I had a scoot around the world, and boom, here they are. They're in the Indian Ocean. They're in the middle of invading somewhere or another, of no consequence to me. The rest are just in little penny packets around the rest of the world, except for Northern Europe. So, yeah, if they want to do that, I'm fine by that. At least it gives me a reasonably clear picture as to what's going on. If we turn our attention instead to what's going on here, because I'm slightly overstrength in the Mediterranean, let's just go back. As you can see here, I've moved some of those assets, because they're quite fast ones, out of the Mediterranean, and I've moved a couple of old battleships into the Mediterranean to compensate. So otherwise, things are going pretty well. There's only a few ships, a couple of the battleships in dry dock for a month. The Admiral Cecile, brave cruiser, for a couple of months. Panleve for 3 months. I can't remember why. Okay. And the Trident in for a month as well. Otherwise, doing pretty good. 6 months in, ahead in victory points, not by an astounding amount, but certainly holding my own. I put the carriers onto fleet support because I was blockading. I'm not sure that I'm blockading now, but we'll see. The money's holding good. It's still going to be a long time before these final submarines become available, and ditto for the new carrier. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with things. If I go to another battle, I'm probably going to do a very light edit on it so that it doesn't hold up the production of these videos. For this kind of video, I like to, you know, get it nice and spot on. But for the battles, I'm just going to not. So be prepared for lots of and ooh and so and my other verbal tics. Sorry about that. And convoy defense down there. Decline for 500. I think I might decline because I've got no forces down there except for 30 aeroplanes. So yes, to decline that one. A raid on coastal shipping. Well, that seems a bit more fun. It's a large one. Our own forces, 11 battleships, heavy cruiser, light cruiser, my usual complement of carriers. The British, seemingly much smaller. So let's say yes. And the British declined. Well, thank you very much. Let's see if they do that again. Convoy defense, medium this time. Okay, let's accept that. And the British are going to accept that. Excellent. So, attack enemy ships in general. I think I am, rather than suppressing the airfields, because this is out in the Bay of Biscay, they won't be able to get many from Britain. So this isn't going to be huge, is it? So one heavy cruiser and a screen of destroyers. If I look, there's no one else around. Let's zoom out. Well, we're safely in the Bay of Biscay, so should be well out of range from Plymouth. If there's an airbase in Plymouth, I can't remember if there is. I don't think there is actually one for reasons unknown. So time, it's 40 minutes to dusk. Okay. And let's get going then. Ah, unknown ship sighted. So here's my lovely convoy. The screen, I'm going to have to stop screening and go into support in line ahead. Let's hope we're not ridiculously outnumbered. Okay, they're going that way. Let's see if we can cut them off. So far, it's... Oh, let's pop the speed back up, shall we? So far, it's just a lone ship. Let's see how that will turn out. Still the lone ship. Reportedly a light cruiser. Aha! It has a friend, and the friends have more friends, and then they have more friends. So I'm guessing from the configuration of this that this is a destroyer flotilla as well. So the Psyche has turned. So we will turn too. This is good because it's taking us away from all of this. But it says it's a battleship. I think it would be quite unfair if it was. So the Psyche, 5-inch guns. The Guidon is 10-inch guns and 4-inch guns. So we do have some aircraft. So I could chuck some on a catapult. I'm not sure what that would do. So obviously no point having any great range. Let's bring that down. And obviously no point trying to do so many multiple vectors when I think really, realistically, we only have 2. Let's bring the range down even further. Nope. That's a bit more like it. Perhaps it's just like that. I'm going to. It's interesting. I'm particularly interested to see if there's any kind of float plane fire control bonus. I don't know. So let's bring this even closer down. 50 miles. I mean, it's nothing. So, and it means they can surely stay in the air for a long time. Let's say yes to that. I mean, you know, it's experimental. If it really is a battleship, we certainly want to know that. So I'm just going to head a bit south and keep heading south. Still says it's a battleship. Now, and then it's resolved into a heavy cruiser. I was going to say some of their battleships are no more than a heavy cruiser. So, okay, this is tasty. 9 10-inch guns, 4-inch guns, very comparable to me, basically. So they are slightly outnumbering me. So keen, I guess, for so trading hit for hit. Keen to essentially take them away from the convoy. They're closing fast, aren't they? What are they up to now? 14,000 yards. Let's pop in and go to my technical data at 14,000 yards. That's 6 inches penetration for the 10-inch gun. I only have 5 inches on my belt. Rather weak deck as well. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of defense. Do they? Well, they have 4-inch. So actually, I'm going to open the range slightly because I don't think I have to get that close. Still zooming around at 13,000. So here's the tricky bit. Of course, launching float planes with 40 minutes to dusk. What was I thinking? So, yes. So just pull out slightly and have a little think about this. So here's my musings, really. Obviously, the convoy is just going to carry on sailing north. The British are currently going southwest. They might move round further to the west in an effort to attack the convoy. They might do anything, really, which kind of leaves my force in a conundrum. So it's a good conundrum since I'm between the British and the convoy. That's what a convoy screening force should do. Thumbs up. I could turn southeast and head towards the British. I could equally head northeast and try and stay between the convoy and the British if the British double back, or I could head towards the convoy. Tricky. Okay, so I'm going to turn towards the British. I'm going to bring the speed down just a few knots and circle round and see what that does. And turn a little bit more. So currently, radar is not... so as you can see, the destroyers are turning towards me. Go away, destroyers. So I will continue to turn north. Perhaps I'll go back up to full speed, although I'm only at 14 at the moment. Eek! So that's not a super great... All right, so that actually is... It says unidentified light guns. Oof, well, we've launched some torpedoes. That's a little bit optimistic, but you never know. They, of course, might do the same to us. So I'm just going to open out the distance because it's only 9,000 yards. And that does seem a little bit generous. If we go, we're at 4.27% in our gunnery, so that's not half bad. I'm going to straighten out because I don't want to go too far that, otherwise I start getting close to the convoy. Obviously, I've got my destroyers in reserve, which I could send them off. I'm just seeing, oh, I'm taking a fair bit of damage in my superstructure. And my speed is still 14. Okay, guys. I think that's very relaxed. All right, hit and disabled. Ah, okay, so we've got the heavy cruiser. They're at 9,000 yards. So again, the convoy's up there. We're taking a right old pasting. What's going on here? Turret Y. Turret A is jammed. Turret B has had a hit and is disabled. So that looks like a good reason to show my backside to the enemy. Come around and see if we can tempt them to the south. Oh, speed has increased to 15. Hooray! Nighttime, yeah, is not far off. And then the south as well. Just looking at bases, just in case I need to worry about that. In go the destroyers. Well done. There we go. So you can see we're on fire. Yes. It'd be nice to have a bit of a respite to sort ourselves out. I'm going to go down to 20 knots because that's what I'm doing anyhow. So the British seem to be uninterested as to where I'm going. I don't know if that's a bad sign and they want to find the convoy. So let's pop up on the disengaged side. The fire's been put out. Well done, chaps. There's a turret. Yes, a turret is unjammed, so that's nice to see. So they're all wallowing around up there. Presumably they can see me as well as I can see them. Just a slight turn to the north, which will bring me slightly closer. And my turret is back in action. Is that all three? Hooray! Well, that's good news. So yeah, we're all a bit tiptoeing around each other, which I don't mind so long as they keep away from the convoy. So whilst they're nearing me, that might be where the convoy is. Honestly, could be anywhere. This and this are probably the cruisers, and the rest are probably destroyers. I'm going to take the speed up to 28. Just carry on. That's my sighting range, torpedo range. Not seeing how far my radar range is. Oh, wow. That's really fine. Okay. So that is within visual sighting. And then it's gone. So yes, it's tricky in this cat and mouse. Let's put the lock on to secure any real advantage. They do seem a bit spread out. So I could lean over and go this way and see if I can't pick them off. But if I did that, it might encourage these guys to come down, and then that would bring the battle towards the convoy, which I don't want. So just nicely steaming. It's kind of nice to have them in radar range. Some of them. They just seem very scattered. Yeah. Now they seem to be falling behind a bit. Perhaps they've slowed down. What's my speed now? 28. So see if they catch up a little bit. Otherwise I might have to go back and get them. Just on the edge of my radar range. Oops. Okay, they're still there. Okay, I'm going to have to go back. Oops. Let's not kill all of my speed. And even that gradual turns taking us down to 18. Okay, wow, that's a long way. Okay, that's probably the convoy. Yep, that's definitely the convoy. So where have the Brits gone? Amazing. This is supposedly my radar range, and yet I can see them so clearly. Oops. So they've found the convoy. Bugger. That's not what I wanted. So let's max this up. And sort these Brits out. Oh dear. It's not gone so well. You can't win them all. Right. Where are they? That's got a tactical flag. Let's assume that that's one of them. Although we seem to be completely unable to see it. Even though it's literally yards away. Oh, okay, that was a merchant. That's us. So where have the Brits gone? Okay, I don't want to go too much on this side, otherwise the Brits could come back for a second bite at the cherry. I wonder if they saw us coming. Nearly out of time, so that's a good thing. Just whizzing around everywhere. Well, no more shooting, so that's the main thing. An hour and 20 minutes. So I think the battle will have run out. So there's the convoy again. Let's just run down through the convoy. Yes. And yes. And yes. Boom. Okay, fair enough. What's the damage? So we got medium damage on them. They did sink 12. Oopsie. So, yeah, it's a victory for them. Well, fair play. I did have them. I went too fast. I lost them. They lost interest in me. They went for the convoy. They did things. Let's just check out the damage on their cruiser. And, well, we destroyed one of their turrets. And, yeah, roughed them up a fair bit. 11 medium hits. Fair enough. Yeah. So, shouldn't necessarily fear them. Could have used my destroyers perhaps a little bit more aggressively, but yeah. Shame about that. A minor victory. Poof. I mean, really, who minds? Let's not going to go that. They dominate the fleet around Asia. Yeah. Defeated Djibouti. Okay, fair enough. Well done, Turquoise. And another one. Oh. And a corvette lost. So, 47 operational boats. I mean, it's been an absolute slaughter of the submarines, I have to say. And because the game is, not really very clear, I don't know why. We are blockading them, so hooray. So that's good to see. All right, let's close that down. And let's stop at this little mini battle and get that one out. June. 7 months. Still, they are a vastly superior fleet. I guess the concern is, now that they've taken Djibouti, will they go for another colony? Or will they come back and free up their blockade? We'll see. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. See you next time.